Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
I'm hearing you loud and clear, Coach Jay. How we doing today, everybody?
Doing well,
Welcome back.
doing well. Welcome to all of our buzzer beaters. Welcome to At the Buzzer, our market recap. If this is your first time here, the goal of this session is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we can take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. If this is our first time meeting, I'm Coach Jay. I've been a Topstep performance coach since June of 2023, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some of my experiences, some knowledge, and hopefully help you become a better trader.
Awesome stuff. You are all our chat, our audience. Thank you as always for joining us. Recovering Avoidant Explains. Our first in the chat asking why can't you watch the replay? You should always be able to watch the replay on YouTube. But shout out to Dan Trader in the chat as well. As I fly Intel to the moon, double beat on Intel. We will take a look at those Intel charts in just a second here. What's up, Tig Gold? Gold Mine T Dot 55 League Play Pay Dirt, Florida Pay Dirt, and Anne-Marie in the chat. Welcome everyone to At the Buzzer. VWAP George is here, so now we can start. All right, let's get into it. Talking about the markets, as far as news goes, we did have existing home sales come out pretty much on the dot. Forecast was 4.06 million. Actual 4.06 million on the dot. Interesting. Coming into this CPI number tomorrow, I'm curious to see what we get from that number. But we are starting to get some of the data that we are looking for. Right now, CPI is still on the calendar for tomorrow. So hopefully we get it. We saw that with PPI as well, but then it got pulled a couple minutes before. But anything else you got on the news, Coach Paul?
Well, sanctions on Russia. We've seen that large move in crude oil was really attributed to that. India being and some other countries being forced to buy their crude elsewhere. I think that, and then the hyping up of this potential hot war coming, and it held through again today, at least in the crude world. But is more importantly, are you saying, is this true? CPI is coming out tomorrow or may come out tomorrow?
Right now it is still on the calendar. It's on the BLS website. So I guess we gotta trust what we see until we see something different. But that is what it's saying right now. I think that CPI data is considered essential, like Jack was saying, essential to the decisions that the Fed is going to make coming up in a little bit here. So I think we are going to get it, right? We know we got a Fed meeting next Wednesday. So let's see. That'll be the first piece of economic data that we're getting in a little while because of this government shutdown. That does not sound like it's any closer to being over, but here we are. Before we get into the equity charts, let's take a look here at Intel. Intel did just beat on their earnings. Ford also released their earnings as well. Shout out to Ford. That's one of the first stocks I ever bought. But Intel earnings per share came in at 23 cents. Estimate was 2 cents. Revenue came in at 13.65 billion, 2.8%, up 2.8% year over year. Data center and AI revenue 4.12 billion. Estimate was 3.97 billion. Of course, everyone's gonna be paying attention to AI at this point. So looking pretty good here. Looking pretty good for Intel. Ford is to boost its F series production volume by 50,000 plus in 2026. Shout out to all the truck drivers out there. Ford looks like they beat on their earnings as well. 45 cents came in at 45 cents. Estimate was 36 cents. Ford Pro revenue came in at 17.4 billion. Estimate was 16.43 billion. Let's take a look at this Intel chart really quick. You think they like those numbers?
Well, well, with those 2 cents versus what was that?
It came in at 23 cents versus a 2 cent estimate. So Yeah, we don't expect to make anything. Uh,
Uh,
oh shit, you made something. Here you go. Here you go. Uh,
guess it
uh,
helps to have friends in the government. I don't know.
right.
It's
We know that yeah, Intel is in the government's portfolio. What is it? A 10% investment in Intel. There you go. 7% move to the upside. That is why we're paying attention to this. Why we're watching this one. And a huge investment by the government in Intel. Uh, and nice rally so far. Let's see if this holds. Intel trading $40 right now. Zoom out on this chart. Let's take a look at a monthly chart. Uh, Coming off of its lows, can you tell where that investment by the government started? Right in this consolidation range, right around where the president was saying it's a good time to buy stocks. Intel was one of those stocks. We are up almost 100% from this range. So nice there. Yeah, considering Intel was only trading $25 in September, right? This is a pretty big move here for any Intel investors if you're holding on. And if you zoom out, uh, still maybe some room to go depending on how that investment goes. So interesting stuff there. Uh, Anything else you got on the news?
that's it. But now we wait for CPI.
Go. Another headline coming out here. I know we haven't been getting jobs data. Target cuts 1,800 corporate jobs in its first major layoff in decades. Target laying off almost 2,000 employees. But let's get to the markets that we trade. 36 different markets we could trade with Topstep accounts. And to the downside today, we had lean hogs down 0.64%, ultra bonds down 0.73%, and natural gas, our biggest percentage mover to the downside, down 3.86%. To the upside, we had RBOB gasoline futures up 3.29%, crude oil up 5.4%, and heating oil up 5.97%. What's that spread called, Coach Paul? Is it a natural gas or heating oil spread or natural gas crude oil spread?
Well, the spread in energy is the crack spread.
There you go.
It's crude oil, heating oil,
And it's derivatives, right?
and on RBOB or unleaded gas.
Interesting. Okay,
Um, you buy crude oil to make gas and heating oil,
got you.
and it's a they call it a synthetic refinery.
Okay,
And a lot of volume, and it can get volatile.
yeah. With those markets trading sometimes double-digit percentages in the day, I could see how that gets volatile. All the energies, big percentage movers. RBOB, crude oil, heating oil, and natural gas, all in our top three. To talk about our big four, we talked about crude oil already, up 5.4%. Uh, S&P up 0.56%, gold up 1.5%, and the NASDAQ up just under 1%, 0.93% on the day. I have a NASDAQ chart up here, Coach Paul. Let's pull up a daily in the NASDAQ. What are we looking at here?
No, we're holding towards the top of that range. We have not closed above it. We could with some CPI driven information possibly, but it's holding, it's looking up and to the right. The longer we hold in this, with and being that it's an equity and it's designed to go up, it's just to me, it's just a matter of time. All-time highs. It's coming. We held the 20-day moving average now for what, 3-4 days,
Yep.
and it's curling up, gaining momentum. That candle was just a blip. It looks like.
Yeah.
I'm not in the prediction game, but that looks like a very friendly chart to me.
Yeah, it looks pretty good for now. We're less than 0.5% off the all-time high in the Nasdaq. Can anyone think of a catalyst that could push us to all-time highs? Could be an operative word, because it could also, depending on what that data is tomorrow. I don't think someone knows. Someone knows what that number is, and if we're actually going to get it, that could get the markets get the markets moving. Let's take a look at the 30-minute chart in the NASDAQ. Yep. AK price action says Trump could do it. CPI could do it. CPI could definitely do it. Let's take a look here, Coach Paul. 30-minute chart on the NASDAQ. Overnight session last night, kind of back and forth. We tested that 200 moving average a couple of times in the overnight session. It took a little while. Volume actually never crossed that 200 moving average on the day. Let me take the 20 and the 50 off of here. Actually, there's a better way to do this. I'm going to teach you guys something real quick. Visibility on intervals. We can say, I change this to a 1-hour chart really quick. And I only want to see the 20 moving average on this interval and above.
Oh, wow.
So,
I
okay.
learned something.
Yeah, hold on one second. We got
The
to,
old dog just found a new trick.
yeah. Because I really only like looking at that 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart and smaller. So we're going to probably a better time for me to do this, but we're doing it here. 30-minute
Well, we're
chart.
learning.
Yeah, here we go. And now we're going to say visibility on intervals, this interval and below. So now what you can see is I have only the 200 moving average. I had to add another indicator here. Only the 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart and below. Then once I go above it, I do like to know where that 20 moving average is. So now this is only going to show on anything an hour and above. Right? So if I go down to a 5-minute chart, I only got the 200 moving average. 30-minute chart only has the 200. Hour, now I got all three. Shout
Wow.
out to Coach Robert. He taught me that.
Coach Robert knows everything.
He knows literally everything.
He literally does. He wrote the book.
Yeah, he literally knows everything. But let's take a look again at like 30 in the chat instead of on my charts here. All right, so 30-minute chart here. What are we seeing, Coach Paul?
Well, you have the 1 hour, I believe.
We're on the 30 now.
Okay. Oh, there it is. All right. You know what I see? Yesterday's large volume spiked on at the lows. We marked that. I marked that out. Last night we broke out of it, and what did we go back to?
Right to 50% of it.
I mean, I shout out to you. I have that on mine now all the time. We had a little talk earlier in the green room about being patient on breakouts like that. I, being a floor person, I don't have the patience I should, but I am developing it. But interesting, that went right to the 200, failed, came back halfway into that, and had a nice rally from that. But last night's action was very small volume.
Yeah, it was.
Even for night session. So, but and then there you go.
Yeah.
So VWAP from last night, it was a little delayed. It was tough. I did not trade it last night. I said after that break yesterday, if it's going to be, and by the way, it was under the 200 moving average.
Right.
So, but it did get up there, failed, set up beautifully this morning on the opening.
Yes, it did. Is gold doing something right now? I just see WTF gold in the chat. Did gold just do something? It's selling off a little bit. All right. All right. So Billy just asked a question about the 1500 lot. We saw 1500 contracts trade in the NASDAQ, big size, 25,115 was that price. We'll take a look at that in just a little bit here. But like Coach Paul said, we came down, we tested 50% of that high volume from yesterday. That's why we kind of like to leave these high volume areas on our charts just to for reference points. But let's go to regular trading hours now. Take a look at the 3-minute. We got some urgency this morning.
Yeah, we did.
We got some urgency. If you're wondering what we are talking about as far as urgency goes, we had a 3-minute opening range. That volume left that range almost immediately and never looked back.
My favorite trade.
Seriously. We had a low of the New York session, and we've talked about this a couple times here, right? Where did we open up? Right at 25,000s, right above 25,000s. We came down, tested 25,000. We traded a point below it. Volume never traded below it, right? So all those times where we talk about uh, L2K took the J trade this morning, nice trade. All those times we talk about, what is the market's response to a whole number level? We traded 1 point below 25,000, Coach Paul, and that was it. Price
But
advertised below, volume never did. So sorry to the poor seller, whoever sold it, thinking we are going to get a breakdown there. It just didn't happen. Uh, it just, you know, instant buy. Uh, but there was,
yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
I call it an allocation trade.
Yeah,
That's institutional buying. They're they're not sitting there waiting for a price. It's okay, buy a couple units, whatever it may be that unit is. It's price doesn't matter. And put that in the dictionary under opening range breakout.
absolutely. Broke outside of that range and just again never looked back. We looked at VWAP a couple times. 25 115 was where that 1500 lot was set was traded. Settings for my anchored VWAP open high low close 4. Again, if you watch, I'm going to change this real quick. See how it doesn't change too much? The default is high low close 3, but we're looking at these on so short time frames that it really doesn't matter. Where it will start to change if I start to use like handle highs and lows and things like that. But if you have it set to, you know, high low 2, high low 3, high low 4, it's really not going to change a whole lot. So you could leave it on the default if you wanted to.
Yeah, and that's what's the book?
Uh,
Anchored VWAP.
yeah,
What's the author?
Brian Shannon.
He recommends that. And by the way, it's an average.
Right,
So using an average of the high, low, and the high, low, and the close makes sense.
right. But this 25 115, we talked about this order. You heard the guys mentioning it on fast markets. A lot of times what we talk about is what is the market's response to that level, right? To that price. Somebody's willing to trade to sell a 1500 lot, right? That order shows up on the offer. That also means that there has to be an aggressive market participant that's willing to buy it. Coming into that, we saw aggressive buyers to start. Now, one of the things we could do, Coach Paul, and we do this, is anchor a VWAP to the event. What was the event? A 1500 lot traded. What did we get from that point? We got more urgency, right? So there was decent follow through. Now, this can be a scary trade to take because we're talking about highs of the day where we just took out a major order. But every once in a while, you get a little bit of a pullback, right? A pullback under this order. Could you buy this initial breakout on the follow through? You could, but even with that 1500 lot, sometimes that's not going to happen, right? Sometimes we see a market trade big size and immediately reject, right? We saw that in gold yesterday. Gold, after that 1,000 lot traded in gold yesterday, we got a quick spike above and no immediate follow through, and we sold off, especially after the gold result. And Rich, you were reading my mind, right? Read the reaction, right? It's not. Is it the event is the big order trading out there, but the trade is the reaction to it, right? What does anyone remember that price in gold yesterday? I do 40, 65, 90.
Was it at that price, 40, 65, 90?
Yeah, why put it at a
Not
weird
66, not
why
8?
exactly.
Well, I can see why. I mean, it's a professional move. You don't put it on the even if you wanna get filled.
That's where everyone else is.
Yeah, that's
Right?
so
Right, but if we start doing that, right? If you start looking at, okay, here's the high volume. If you're a depth of market reader, consider that an event, right? And it is, right? We're going to see high volume there. We anchor VWAP to high volume, so it's kind of just makes sense a little bit, right? Anchor a VWAP to when that trade happens, and then we'll see what the market's response is from there. But in this case, in the Nasdaq, even though we got a pullback, there was follow through buying, and again, they just bought it all day. At 25,115 ended up being somewhat of a support. The way the NASDAQ, it's going to be a support, right? Where we're going to run it by 40 points before we go higher. But a decent spot to start to look for some buyers, because you know that there was an aggressive market participant there that not only bought 1,500 contracts, but showed potential for follow through above, where we didn't immediately turn around like we did in gold. Now, trade location matters, where your stop goes matters. And again, this is not going to happen the same way every time, right? But the DNA of the day was that there were buyers from the open, and they just continued to buy it all day. Anything else you got on the Nasdaq, Coach Paul?
Um, no, but just prepare for CPI tomorrow. It looks very friendly to me. It'd be great. And look at the size of that candle. And the first half was
This one?
yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, but this division, that was heavy buying. I mean, it was the highest volume of the day. The rest of the volume in was half. The biggest one was half of that. So
Yeah.
when we go back to, hey, coach, what's your offer? I'll buy 5,000, and it was,
Yeah.
take them out.
Yeah.
Now there
I got 5 to
yeah,
sell. Okay. So I'll buy your 5 and everything else above you too.
yeah, and that's that was that's why I'm friendly that has a high probability of continuing. And don't take that as trading advice or investment advice. It's my opinion from my experience. But
Yep.
that's really good buying. We went back halfway into it and just melted up, or actually just lollygagged up.
Right. Uh, JD had a great question here. Was that 115 lot or 1,500 lot near the 200 moving average? It was within 10 points of it. And
Huh?
that's another thing we do, right? And in order to get through this 200 moving average, we've seen it. You're going to need some volume. Uh, somebody nicely bought 1,500 contracts for us to continue through that 200 moving average. Thank you, friend. Uh, Billy has a question. That 1,500 lot that was filled all at once, is that prearranged? Could be. Oh, they put it out there.
Um, I'll give you a little experience on that.
Let's
That
talk
could
story time.
be. I mean, that could be because there could be a large institution that bought a big unit in the cash market. Now, unless Goldman Sachs says, I'll take a piece of it, and Morgan or some hedge fund takes a piece of it, or one entity takes it and distributes it to others. There is that trade.
Yeah.
That could be it. And that's my guess. Or it was an option trade, a large option level. That could be it. But the key point is we don't know. We just know it got filled. And
Yep.
what effect did it have? So, we're never really going to know. And even if we did, now what?
Yeah.
Now I know. Okay, well, the
If I'm ever
prices
the if
continue
I'm
to
ever
go
the
up.
1,500 lot seller guy or buyer guy, I'll let you guys know
Yeah. And
if I'm allowed to. I might not be able to disclose that information, but we
but
will
it's
see.
good. It's good to know, but why? I don't know. I don't. Because I used to get caught up in that. Because if I could just find out what they are, then I could just when they're in and see if they're right, and all these derivatives of, hey, what's my trading plan? How did that affect the market? It didn't change it from my perspective. Um, and move on. Heck, as this market goes higher and more participants are in it, could be a 3,000 lot.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what some of the biggest size we've seen recently in the NASDAQ. But I know the last year there was a couple crazy ones out there. I think there was like a 2,500 one time.
Yeah,
It's a
that was it.
pretty big size. A pretty big size. If I check in the Discord, I know I probably posted a screenshot there. We're continue to push a little bit here. Again, we might be seeing all-time highs pretty soon in these markets. Uh,
Shh.
don't say it. Don't jinx it. All right. And
Well, if it is, you have to hit the like button first.
yeah, there we go. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't done so already. We appreciate. Anything else you got on the equities, Coach Paul?
Um, do we look at the S&P?
Nope, but we can. S&P
Now,
on a
I
daily.
wanted to, I'll tell you why. This was such a clean trade from yesterday on the S&P on that low volume, that high volume at the lows yesterday. Well, first of all, very much God, it even looks more bullish than the NASDAQ. I mean, but that high volume was just same thing to the tick on the 50%.
Yep.
Now, the S&P was above that 200. We went back. It gave you a chance. And it's a rare look at that. We stayed in that candle, but notice VWAP didn't leave that range until the US Open.
Yep.
And that's where, that's where money comes in. What do I mean by money? Volume. This is we're not at the $5 table anymore. We're at the $100 table now.
Right.
And it was very clean to me.
Yeah, I agree there. Uh, Pulling up this volume profile, my new favorite tool. We got a volume point of control that was up here 67.39. Uh, and we had VWAP trade above it. And I was talking to Coach Paul in the green room, and I feel like I've been becoming pretty impatient in my trading recently. Uh, and one of the things that I was focused on early on this year, especially, was being patient and waiting for some of these trades. If I could get a better price than VWAP in this case, gave us an opportunity to get a better price than VWAP around that 50%. These are some great trades here. Better price than that point of control, better price than VWAP, where all the buyers that are in here, they're going to make the next wave. And if I can get in better than them, then worst case scenario, I can make money to their position. Best case, we make money with them. And then in the case today, buyers were definitely in control of this market. Anything else you got on the equities?
Yeah, one more comment on the bullet traders. The dark pool has 10,000 lots that go unseen by the average investor. It's a really good point. But large institutions do not like to show their hands on exchanges like the Merck or even the New York Stock Exchange because they feel that they get run on. Either way, there's a lot of that on dark pools gets traded, and then the imbalance gets
Do we have to
moved
worry about
out.
dark pools as much in futures than in stocks? In stocks, I know we probably definitely do, but
No,
with futures being so
but
centralized, like being centralized.
yeah, it's centralized, it's open. But if there's a big transaction or some big volume being moved in one of the seven in NASDAQ, it's going to move through a dark pool.
Yeah. Okay. I got you.
I have a feeling some of that excess or a hedge goes into those 1,500 lots.
That makes sense.
Ask the quant, because I mean, there's so much goes on in dark pools that we don't know, and I'm like, you know what? We really don't need to know. Well, we really don't.
Yeah.
We can be curious, but if you have a trading plan that works in your trading, what that imbalance to me or that volume is going to come to the futures market because
Y-
it's capital efficient. It has the leverage. It's cheaper to trade.
Yep. Out of the dark into the light. There's enough volume that trades in the on the exchange for us to follow. Taking a look at the Russell here, the Russell's been struggling to get above 2500s. Again, another rejection here, 2500 evens.
You know, talk about spreads, and I think that it's even more bullish. That we haven't talked about our cousin Russell
Hmm.
in a while, but it's not. Look at that. It's so it's kind of flattened out, like you said. Well, it's kind of bullish because when we were breaking, what was the strongest indices on the board? It was the Russell. Now, and that's kind of a protection play. Now, risk, quote unquote, risk on. We're going right to the NASDAQ. And so there are large entities that trade that spread. I mean, it's legit.
Yeah.
So very interesting because it's flattening out while the others are starting to move higher.
We had the Dow make an all-time high 2 days ago. And still holding above that Friday candle, or right inside of it now.
Yep.
Holding that 20-day moving average. All of these look extremely bullish right now. They look extremely bullish. Of course, anything can
Pick your
change.
poison.
That CPI data tomorrow could switch things up a little bit. And just quick eye test, what happens at whole number levels, 47,000s, immediate rejection there. But everything looks pretty bullish here.
Yeah, and I just got a text from my broker. Guess what's going to happen tomorrow?
Margins going up.
Yep.
There we go. Are we actually getting the number? Are we actually getting it? It sounds like we are. It sounds like at this point we are. I know last week for PPI they also raised margins. Again, the number didn't come out, but it sounds like this CPI number is actually going to come out. Anything else you got on the equities?
That's it.
All right, let's move over to gold on a daily. What are we seeing here? Is it safe to buy it? What's going on here?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Boy, with CPI tomorrow, we're just talking. That could be, it could affect gold more than anything. Well, let's look at on that. It's not safe. We're holding that 20-day moving average nicely. It's calming down.
Yeah.
But just on that, I surely don't want to get short. It can go down without me.
I'm with you. This is the first test of the 20 moving average since we started this in 40 trading days. First test of that 20 moving average. This seemed necessary, Coach Paul. If we were going to continue higher, this seemed extremely necessary to do this. And we have not traded that 20 moving average for 60 calendar days, 41 trading days, almost. And again, we see what happens when the market does trend. I would agree with you that the time to aggressively get short gold for now, to me, is probably not. It's probably over. We got almost a 10% correction, but of course, anything can happen.
You know what I'd like to do? Let's anchor a VWAP to the breakout when we've closed at the all-time high after the correction. So I think that was
which one you?
So
like this breakout here?
Yeah, whatever day that we broke out from that, we closed higher than that previous all-time high.
Got you. Okay, so right here.
Yeah, let's put an anchored VWAP.
Actually, right there.
That could be the place.
Interesting. Good call.
I think because to me that represents this new buying.
Right. That makes sense.
I want to keep an eye on that.
That price, 39.36 half, 39.36 half. We'll see where that ends up. Close to that 4,000 level. I know Hogan and I were talking during the opening call about this 4,000 level being, just a visual target, big fat round number that the market might be targeting. We stopped a little bit short of that. Emery in the chat says, I expect bounces to still sell in the cycle in gold. And so far they have been, right? We really haven't seen buyers take control of this market yet. They stopped the bleeding a little bit, but still need some a higher close, right? Or trade above a prior day's high, which we haven't seen. We saw it the entire rally up where we barely took out any prior day lows. Let's start seeing some action above prior day highs, uh, and if we can convince buyers to do that. 30-minute chart here, Coach Paul.
30-minute chart, we're holding the 20 moving average, but like and as Anne Marie said, I mean, that is some headway. Guess what we're under?
200 moving
That
average on the
white
30.
line.
Yeah, we are.
Look for resistance at that white line, but we close above it. We could rip, but it's got a lot of work to do. Really, is it oversold? No. That's the crazy part. We've broke what, $350, and it's not oversold in the
Right.
short term. So, and with CPI tomorrow, I wouldn't trade. I would step aside in front of that number. My tin hat tells me they're not going to release this if it's a bearish, a big number, like it shows a higher inflation.
Interesting.
That's just my tin hat. I'll take it off now, but I think they wouldn't. They just wouldn't put it out if it was going to be a terrible number, and we'll see. I could be wrong.
Yeah. What I'm seeing here in gold is that major sell-off that we had. We haven't really traded through that imbalance at all. What day was that? That was Monday? Tuesday? What day was this? Thursday, Tuesday. Still hanging out at the low of that candle. Closing inside of it for now, where we look below it, but we're still closing inside of it. Again, buyers are trying to hold this up for now. Maybe sellers just taking a little bit of a breather before the next leg down. Maybe getting some of the catalysts that we are talking about. I would agree with you, Coach Paul, and we'll see this in crude oil. If we get above this 200 moving average with some volume, then there's a big move coming in gold, but that's a big if. Right? It has a lot of work to do. We'll see that in crude oil. That 200 moving average right now, 42.03. 42, basically we call it 4200s. Anything else you got in gold or any other metals you want to look at?
Okay, I'll put my tin hat back on.
What
I
happened?
found it interesting that gold broke like that right before the announcement there was going to be tougher sanctions on Russia. Because the BRICS central banks have been buying the gold.
Okay.
It could have been a catalyst. Because it was such a sudden and vicious break. So, could that have turned a dime? Yeah, it could have, but let's see. But good call. And more to Anne Marie's point, we are under that 200 moving average. We got some work to do.
It turned. It's trending lower right now. That was some aggressive selling that we saw. Anne-Marie looking for 3600s potentially. 3600s. I'm putting that on my chart. All right. All right. Anything else?
Silver due today.
Silver. Let's take a look. It's getting closer to that 200 moving average. I saw that on the 30. We'll look at the daily, but still under that 20-day moving average. Still holding it as a resistance.
It looks like gold.
Yeah, it looks very similar. Very similar to gold. Just go through platinum. Copper. Let's take a look.
Copper's probably got a little bullish tint to it.
A little bit. little
Oh
bit
boy.
here. Still holding inside of that October 10th candle though here in copper. What about natural gas? We can talk natural gas.
Yeah.
Let's talk crude oil first, and then we'll get to natural gas. Anything else you got in the metals, or should we go over to crude?
Let's just go over the crude.
Crude is getting interesting here. Crude is getting interesting. What are you seeing on this daily, Coach Paul?
What's that white line?
That is the 200-day moving average, 62.14. High of the session today was 62.20. 62.20. So
And we
pretty much right there. Uh,
yeah, we were up $3.20 today.
yeah,
And it really didn't feel that way.
it all
But how
happened
much
overnight.
um interesting though, we slowed down right near that 200 moving average. Um let's I mean this is I like we talked yesterday. This is a short covering rally.
Hmm.
Um now we've seen this before, haven't we? Sharper rallies and leaks lower. Um, Now that Russian sanctions forced from what I read today is going to force India to buy from the Middle East, and not get cheap crude, which is puts that demand into the market. It makes it tighter. So can it continue? Sure, but for my measurements, get above the 200 at a minimum, close above that.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. We took a trade this morning in the house account, and crude was up 5.5% today. While we were taking this trade, crude was up about 5.5% on the day. And talking about how do you execute trades, right? We talk about a lot of the analysis. Where's this market going? We saw last night urgency in crude oil, maybe off the back of some of those sanctions that we were hearing. We heard crude oil news last yesterday, right before the close, right? Here's that highest volume candle yesterday. Again, if war news is picking up, we can potentially see crude oil prices picking up. We also had the energy sector say yesterday that this is a great time to be a crude oil buyer. Interesting. Right around $58, they said that, up 6%. But we had that high volume from yesterday. We held that high on the open this morning. Sorry, on the open last night for the Globex Open. We held that high, got a little bit of urgency into the London session. If you're wondering what we're referring to as urgency, VWAP leaving the range to the upside. It was pretty choppy during the Asia session. That's to be expected. But then once the London session started to come in, we see this buying picking up above that $60 level. Uh, but then we're opening up here, right? We're opening up in this range here. Let's take a look at that opening range trade. And I think I put that 200 moving average on the daily back on here. And I think one of the things for me, I'm bullish crude oil. We traded into a demand area that we found some buyers in months ago, right, down at this $56 level. Uh, but coming into the day now, we talk about it all the time, Coach Paul. We're day traders, right? So timing and location matter, and expectations for the trade matter as well. If I'm coming into the day, and we talked about this with the opening range trade that we took, if I'm coming into the day with a long bias and the market's already up 5.5%, right? Know exactly what it looks like when your trade doesn't work out. Um, I actually still, I kind of wish we were holding that house account trade because I think we can continue to trade higher. But in this case, that opening range trade, and JD Hogue and I, we talk about this. Can we add some more context to these opening range trades? Here is the opening crude oil, decent opening range trade to the long side. And if we took it on the initial breakout, which we didn't, we took it after a candle close. So we got long here. What are the expectations for this trade that I have, right? Because we have a major level of contention, 20 ticks above where my entry is on a day that we are already above the daily ATR and at 5.5%. So if I'm looking to buy crude oil and it's already up 5.5%, I got to ask myself, I may not know all the numbers, but how many times have I seen a more than 5% day in crude oil? For my own personal trading, I haven't. So if I'm taking a long here because I think the market is bullish, for me, that trade location has to be in a better spot to give me a little bit of a runway to work with. Because again, how many convinced buyers am I going to find at the high of a 5.5% move? I don't know, and there weren't many, but we did get a pullback to where
View up on
right
a
to
half
view up,
hour.
right to
Yeah.
view up, and look at what ton of volume into that view up. There was probably a headline or something that came out, and we traded right back to view up, and that's just a better trade location. So you know the opening range trade, it's a mechanical trade, so we're going to take it, but the location of that trade, 20 ticks might have been exactly what we were going to get out of the market because of where we were. Uh, Interesting market here for sure. Anything else you got on crude, Coach Paul?
Yeah, you know what? We had a large on a half hour. We had what big selling off of that 200 moving average. It was, but we held on to that range.
Yep.
So that's kind of friendly. That to me, that's more or less short covering. But and we stayed. And someone sold it, or an entity got sold, and we went sideways. Let's mark that 200 for tomorrow. We'll see if we get another up 5%. Is that possible?
Essentially,
Not highly.
I had to zoom
Not,
out, Coach Paul. That's one of the highest 30-minute candles we've seen since the middle of August.
yeah.
Mark that one out. That range is 61.11s up to that 200 moving average, 62.12. Mark that candle out if you're trading crude.
Yeah, that was and that stopped this market dead. So good action though. But once again, that most of it came overnight. It by the time we got to participate here in the States,
Trade's over.
the trade was over. So maybe it gives the credence that it's Asian buying that's being forced into this.
Good point. Good point. All right, let's take a look. Natural gas on the daily. 200 moving average is popping up in a lot of these charts. What are we seeing on the daily here?
Nice basing. We're still holding that gap. I find that very interesting. Now, with that said, it's this is the November contract, which is going to end sometime. It's going to expire sometime next week, early. Really want to start looking at the next month, but nice basing. I was listening to an old colleague who was big in the energy business, and someone said natural gas could be an answer to the energy demand for AI data centers.
Say that one more time.
Natural gas could be could find a big demand for energy for AI data centers because they have to. It takes a decade to build a nuclear
Okay,
uh,
got you.
um, center. So in the meantime, where would that electricity come from? Well, it'd be generated by the next cheapest. It's a cheap form is natural gas. Natural gas is a major component in electricity generation. Now, what good does that do me in a day trade?
Great point. I knew
but
that was coming. How can I trade that?
um, but you It is making a nice base at very low prices. So it's not over the 200 moving average. And by the way, this is a continuation chart, so it's kind of, it throws it off a little, but it's starting to look friendly to me. So especially with that gap and
Yeah,
we've held it. Whoa, what's that white line?
that is the 200 moving average.
We closed below it for the first time this week.
Since that gap.
Since that gap, maybe tomorrow we could fill that gap. That's interesting. Let's watch that tomorrow.
Rich was saying Hoop was saying nat gas may be moving into seasonal demand. It is that time where we are coming into winter time. Take a look on a daily chart and just look at winter. Here's October 2024. Do one of those "you are here" maps on like we're at the mall. We had a gap in November. We had one in October. We filled it. We had a gap in November here that we came back, filled, and never looked back. But at some point,
Well,
and again, this is go ahead, Coach Paul.
those gaps come from on that come from natural gas as a carry. It trades every month. And I'll give you an example here. The price on the December natural gas is 400 or so. The January is 330. So when you're using a continuation chart, those gaps come in because every month there's an expiration. So right now, when that November goes off the board, November's trading at 3,400 basically. December's trading at 400. It's going to show a 600-point gap on a continuation chart. If you had because natural gas trades years out regularly. All right, now look at a volume today in September of 2026 traded 4,300 contracts. So it's actually better to have a non-continuation chart because it'll give you data for years. So
Yep.
and it happens in grains too. You won't see this in financials that expire quarterly. So when the open interest, it's probably what Coach Upit's rolling right now. So it's probably Monday. December will be the front month. Well, December's trading 600 points higher. In a continuation chart, it's going to show this huge gap. Now, the gap we saw on the half hour from Sunday, that's November. That's a pure gap. So, interestingly, the reason I know that I've been involved in the ag business or the energy business for a long time, they are priced different months or different seasons are priced differently. So it's something to know if you're going to trade that. I don't think we only can have continuation charts.
Yes, we can. We can only have continuous.
Now, when this becomes top step, it's not going to affect the half hour or the hourly chart or the 4-hour chart, but it will affect the daily chart. Just it's something to know. And when I went and did some back testing, This is when you know what your results are data dependent because the computer doesn't know it's a seasonal trade or the carry. So you have to go back and adjust for that for true data. Without getting too deep in the weeds, just know that you're going to see that.
Coach Paul, we got a question here from DigiCap. I thought this was interesting. Well, no one's ever asked this question before. What's the longest you've ever held a futures contract?
My biggest winner.
Say it again.
Uh, and it was like 2 months. I
Okay.
don't know the exact. That was a long time.
Yeah.
I had to go. And it was actually it wasn't in an energy, and it was in bonds. I think
Okay.
it was a long in the bonds. It just kept on going and going, and the only
Why
reason
get
I
out?
got out was I had a roll.
Mm,
Um, but it wasn't my best trade ever, I should say.
there you go.
It just didn't hit, and it's a swing trade. It didn't hit the multiples I was looking for, and they're pretty big. Um, so you
Couple
got,
months.
you forget you have it on.
Right.
I
Just
mean,
working. You look at it, it's
it,
like, oh, still working.
but I'll tell you this: it all sounds great, but you got to have to go through it's an 80% loser.
Mm,
It's almost inhuman to execute.
yeah.
You got to really love your losers.
Yep. Yeah.
Um,
I've held a couple of positions. I think my longest was probably about 2 weeks. In micros, it was micro NASDAQ. Uh, and it was a decent position. It worked out. It worked out pretty well. But you also need the account balance to be able to hold, right? Especially with some bigger size. The micros is why I would do it. Personally would not hold very many minis in an overnight position. Uh, that's just not me, not my thing. Uh, any other markets we want to go over?
I had a nice, decent move today was Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, and then we got a question: can we go over the S&P before CPI tomorrow? We'll take a look. We'll take a look. We're actually going to look at the last CPI print. Here's micro Bitcoin on the daily, Coach Paul.
I'm bouncing along on that 200, and there's a market imbalance. Um, it's going to break out of this range. If I'm a long-term holder of Bitcoin, I'm getting a little nervous here. Now we had a great run for the year, but it's up what multiples.
Yep.
But we've and before we bounce off this 200 and we start going higher here. This is a dead gnat bounce. Not cat, gnat. I don't want to offend anyone. Does anybody like gnats? If I offended you, I apologize.
Nope. And if you like them,
Um,
I'm okay offending them. I'm so- I'm s- I'm sorry. That's not nice.
all right. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. This should be. I would consider this should have acted better. Now it's spent all week near this 200 moving average. Um, just keep an eye on this. This could have, with the history of Bitcoin or crypto is, when it breaks, it goes one way. I heard that whale covered some of his shorts
Yeah, they
or her,
did.
her shorts. I don't
Yeah,
know if it's a male or female whale. The whale covered.
they did cover. Where's the link to that wallet? Let's see where they at right now. The last time I checked, they were still short 1,300 Bitcoin. They're flat. They are flat.
Interesting.
They are flat. So we're on whale watch. Next time they put on a position, again, this is not financial advice. This is just reading order flow. But a different whale got long. Oh, really?
Whale, oh whale.
A whale off. Uh,
What's
all right. Let's take a quick look at the S&P, the last CPI print that we got. That was September 11th, 2025. So we're gonna go back in time here. Uh, September 11th, 2025. Here we go. That was the last CPI print that we got. And that candle is this one. So what can we expect with CPI tomorrow if it comes out, Coach Paul? What do you expect?
volatility?
Volatility.
And
Volatility.
volatility of just that spike. We haven't had one for a while. Why trade in front of it? You can go ahead. I'm just my advice is don't. Um, See how it plays out. And like you said, the what's the expectation? All I can expect it's going to be volatile, and we saw it in there. And look at that selling. And what kind of trade was that?
That was eventually a J trade. We had some heavy selling. Was it the low of the day? Pretty close to the low of the day. Once we closed above it, we had a nice rally afterwards. So we say it all the time. You do not have to guess what the market is going to do. Let the market tell you. Trade from there. Trade much safer in that case. Uh, Again, we don't want to be in the business of guessing. We want to take some measured opportunities, right? Measured opportunities, measured risk. Here was PPI, which was the day right before that. And same thing. How do you manage risk in a 25-point candle in the S&P? You don't try to guess where that 25 points is going to trade out. And tomorrow has the potential to be extremely volatile. So be patient. Sit on your hands. And someone wanted to know, what does my crystal ball say? My crystal ball, I got to re-up this subscription on it, and they won't let me until after CPI tomorrow. So I'll let you know then. Coach Paul, anything else you got before we go?
Oh wow, we're at time.
Yeah, we are.
That was fun.
It was.
If you consider this fun, I did. It
I think it's
was a
fun.
good session. Once again, we that CPI is supposed to come out tomorrow. Um, I think it's wise to wait for the number to come out. We see, even if you think you're right, your stops, if you're wrong, can be just horrendous. Um, was that the CPI we took the 15-second chart where there
I'm
was,
pretty sure it was. Yeah.
yeah, um, it might look good, but you don't know if your fill is going to be. Um, so be careful
Careful.
and
Okay.
plan your trade your plan, and have a great day.
Have a good one. We got a question here. What do you think it is helpful to use Bookmap on real time? I think Bookmap is a great tool. I personally don't use it, but I think the information that you get from Bookmap, if you're an order flow trader, can be very valuable. So yeah, I think it's a great tool. Uh, But that is it for today for At the Buzzer. We do have Coach Robert. Today is Thursday. Coach Robert is actually doing his class right now. Coach Hoop coming up at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Coach Ray and Coach Vince, 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Coach Dakota with Slow Markets at 8:30. Today, Baron is joining him. Make sure you check all of them out or catch it on the replay if you can't watch it live. We got Aaron with the London trade, London Open tomorrow at 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time. No Euro trade with D tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. One more day before the weekend. Don't do anything crazy tomorrow that you want to go into the weekend and regret. Trade well, everyone. Manage your risk. And if you had fun today, hit that thumbs up button on the way out. We appreciate you all. Coach Hoop, we appreciate you as well, helping us moderate this thing. We'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good one. See you soon.
Have a good Bye.
Bye.